As the month of July is coming to a close, I just wanted to review the Bitcoin miners just to see how they're going to maybe close the month to see if things will continue higher or if things are reaching resistance. So all these charts are going to be on the monthly chart, and it's going to be the monthly GAN, the monthly Ichimoku, and the monthly moving averages, right? So first, we're going to start with CleanSpark, and CleanSpark is at resistance, and it's also at support, right, on the monthly chart. And we can really see this is the blue line here is the 100-month moving average, and it continues to wick above the 100-month moving average, but it has failed to break above, right? It has failed so many months in a row, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be the 6th month in a row that is wicked above the cloud, the bottom of the cloud, and it's wicked above the 100-month moving average, right? So it cannot break above yet. But what we can see right now is support has been holding as well, right? We got my blue level right here, the GAN level. We got the conversion line that sits at 1409. You have the baseline that sits at 1323. And then way down here is the green 50-week month or 50-month moving average right here. And that's currently at 1366. So it's really in a tight range, right? It's in a range from basically around 1350 all the way up to maybe $18 or $19, right? So possibly in the months to come, it'll be able to break above into the cloud and towards the top arcs and beyond, right? But it's clearly looking to close a month still within this range, and it's just consolidating longer and longer, and just going to take more time to break out. And next we have Mara, and Mara is looking a little bit better, right? So you can tell right here that the 50-month moving average right here, this green line, it's been holding as support ever since this bullish engulfing candle of almost 100%, right? During that month, broke out and successfully back tested this 100-month moving average, that blue line, and this angle at the same time. So now what we can see looking into this chart, it's holding the baseline at 1860 as support, but it's still closing candles under the conversion line at 2124. So there's still a couple days left in this month, so possibly it'll have some room to close back above, which if that did happen, that would give it room to go all the way up to the bottom of the cloud, possibly from the 30s all the way up to the 40s, right? To get there to this arc and maybe where the bottom of the cloud meet right here, right? So it all depends on how this month is really going to close, and it looks like it might be just stuck in that range still. So the good news is support has been found, and the bad news is there's only a little bit of resistance above, right? So that's not really that bad of news. It's just going to take more time, but this chart looks really ready to break out just on a monthly basis. But you can just see that it's just consolidating, right? Kind of like CLSK, it's just consolidating and it's waiting for a move higher and higher. And next I have RIOT. So RIOT has been holding the 100-month moving average as a support too. Last month it did drop below a little bit, but that was just a little fake out. And now this month looks like it's going to try to close back above my blue arc, the bottom blue arc, and the blue 100-month moving average. So if that happens, then we know where support is. And support would be around that $9.94, $10 range. And then resistance, you can see this giant wick above to the $12, right? That hit resistance immediately at the baseline at $11.95. My blue level at 1230, and then the conversion line, which sits at 1328. So I know where support is, and I know where resistance is, and it looks like it's going to close the month possibly in the middle of that range. So there is still lots of resistance above, but at least the risk seems pretty defined right here. And anywhere down from $9, $9.95, $10 down to maybe the lower nines would be a good place to possibly enter, if not already. And next I have CIFR mining here, CIFR. And right now the conversion line sits at 507, the baseline sits at 419, and on this monthly candle, it's currently at 557. So it's currently above all resistance levels on the monthly chart. except for this angle right here. It continues to wick towards that angle and get rejected, right? So this is the resistance around $7, maybe a little bit higher, 750 or so. That is the resistance level, but it looks like support is around these levels, right? Around $5 down to even maybe the 419 worst case, right? So this chart continues to break higher, and if this month does close back above this orange level, that's a good sign for a possible continuation higher, but just keep in mind the resistance above here of this angle, and then further in time, there's going to be this angle and this arc right here, which would be in the $9, right? So it looks like there could be some momentum to carry this higher and higher in the coming months. And next, we have Iris Energy, IREN, IREN. And on this monthly chart, it's also just back testing support levels. And the conversion line sits at 927. The baseline sits at 839. And after getting rejected by this resistance, my blue level up here, basically $14, even went up to $15, right? It got rejected, just turned into giant wicks. So it's just retesting support levels. That's all it's doing right now. And currently it's holding this conversion line. So going into the next couple of days, you need to see that if this can hold. If that doesn't hold, then there's a possibility of going back to this baseline around 840. And that would be the next support. And if that breaks, there's really no more support until back down maybe where the arc is and the 6 is. But I believe, based off this market structure, that this could hold as a support, the conversion, and worst case, maybe this baseline right there. So all that happened is it got rejected at resistance, and now it's trying to find a new higher low for support. So could take some time to find out, and right now it's still battling this angle too. If it does drop below that angle, then there could be more resistance on the way back up to these levels, but we'll just keep an eye on this level. But the most important thing would be holding these indicators right here, the baseline and the conversion line. And next we have Bitfarms, right? BITF. And this one looks really, really good, right? Compared to some of the other ones. It's always been backtesting support, and that's what it's been doing the past couple of months, right? Ever since it did close candles below here, it's been breaking back above this 50-month moving average and even back above the conversion line. And now what just happened? It came back down to backtest it this month. That angle right there and the 50-month moving average, right? So this is a very bullish formation. And if the month does close back above the conversion line, then that leads the possibility of going higher and higher to the leading span A of the Ichimoku cloud right there, possibly in the $5, or even to the arc around 580, or even possibly back to the blue level here around 725. So those are the next targets, right? As long as this support holds, I see a trend that can continue higher and higher, and this market structure of a series of higher highs, higher lows looks really bullish for the future. And next I have Digital, BTBT, and this one is sitting right around the conversion line right now on a monthly chart. And that conversion line sits at 351, current price is 356. So it looks like a new base has been found here with the bottom of the arc and possibly the baseline down at 290. So if this top arc if a candle can close above that, then I would see a push back to the 50-month moving average up here, where you can see it got rejected in the past with this wick right here. So a couple of things need to happen. This month needs to close back above the conversion line. If that happens, then there's a possibility for the following months to close back above this arc, and then that'll lead the possibility to get back to the 50-month moving average. And that should be some resistance for some time before it's able to break back above this angle and get back to the bottom arc and the cloud here, which is around $11. And then the blue level does sit at $16 here. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get back up to these levels, but I'm really watching this 351 monthly close, so hoping it can close above that for a continuation higher. Next, we have WULF, WULF, and this one basically, during this month, it got rejected by the 50-month moving average around 677, but the high only went to 651, so it didn't even quite get there yet. but it's very close to that green level, very close to the 50-month, very close to the bottom arc. And as you can see, there's lots of resistance right here. The 50-month is at 677. The 100-month is at 767. The 200-month moving average is at 922. So I think it's going to take a while for this to break above all of these monthly moving averages, because it's going to really weigh down the possibility of breaking through them, right? So I don't think it's going to break through right away. I think it's still going to go back and test a support zone. And currently that support zone does sit around the conversion line, which is 370, the baseline around 352, and the top arc. And you can see in the past, this candle right here wicked through the top arc. So a back test of that arc around 350 would be normal, right? It would be normal, because if it can't break through all this resistance above, it's going to go back and test its support. And currently that support sits right around 350 all the way up to maybe 370. So we're going to keep an eye on this, right? But I don't think it's going to break higher anytime soon. I think any chance of it getting back to like the 670s or the $7 range would be a good opportunity to maybe take some profits, because I see this massive resistance above with the Gann arcs, the level, and all these moving averages right here. And next we have HUT8, and that is HUT. And this candle obviously got rejected by resistance. And it's clear to see when you look at the monthly chart here, all it did is wick above this 50-month moving average, wick above my arc, and now it looks like it's going to be closing down near support levels. So this is going to be important to watch and look in the next couple of days to see where it closes, right? So the conversion line sits at 1364, the baseline 1333. And I expect it to come down there and backtest these levels, right? So currently it's at 1468, and I believe it will come back down, at least retest the conversion line around 1364 or 1370 or so, right? So this is a clear rejection. And since it couldn't get past these resistance levels, it's going to backtest support. And these levels hopefully will hold. And if they don't hold, then it's going to go back to this orange level. And you can see how important this orange level is going across, right? So many candles wicked through it. So many candles, right? And that orange level does sit at $11, right? So it's going to be important to see where this month closes. It's going to be important to hold these levels as support. And if it does hold these levels as support, then I expect it to retest these resistance levels above. And once it breaks above the 50-month on a monthly candle close and my arc, then it's going to be able to finally go break above to this angle and the bottom of the cloud here, which kind of sit around $30 or so, maybe mid 30s would be possible as well. So support holding here is critical, right? I want to see it hold. And if that holds, then it's going to retest resistance in the months to come. And next I have CORZ Scientific, CORZ. And this one's kind of young on the monthly basis, right? So you can't really rely on anything except this is my attempt at the Gann, but it's still a very young chart. So it can be not as accurate as a chart that has more data. But I want to point out what I notice here. And this is the orange level that it is currently trying to flip to a support, right? So right now that support level sits around 925. And if that support does hold, then there's a possibility for a continuation to the arcs above, which is maybe around $15, right? But if this month does close below, or maybe if the next month does close below, then that will probably go back down to retest levels, right? The first level it could retest if this orange level breaks would be this angle down here. And next month candle, that would be possibly around 750. And if that angle breaks, then the next support would be around this angle, around $5, right? So just want to point out the levels here. And we can't really use the Ichimoku because this chart is too young, right? So I'm really watching this 925 level. And as long as this 925 level holds, then I believe the possibility to continue to the 15s is possible. But if that 925 level does break, then there's a possibility to test these support levels below. And next I have BTDR, BTDR. And I'm just going to use the conversion line and baseline here as a support zone because this is important, right? Last month, you can see it had a 67% monthly candle break above it, right? And usually when you have a bullish engulfing candle break above both these levels, it's a good indicator that it could flip to a support, right? It didn't happen this time when it broke above, but that's because the following month closed below. But this time, this following month, looks like it has the potential to close above both. And right now, the conversion line sits at 888. The baseline sits at 876. And if this holds as support, there is a possibility to continue back to where all these wicks are, right? This monthly wick, that wick, that wick, that wick, that wick, right? They all sit around $14, right? Maybe a little bit higher, $14.50. But as long as this support holds, I can see it going back to $14, and that will be a major resistance for price to try to break. And if it does break it, then it's clear to go much higher. But currently, that's the range, right? The range is from $8.75 right down here all the way up to $14, and it is closer to support than it is resistance. So it could be a good opportunity for a continuation higher and higher. And lastly, I have SMLR, Similar Scientific. And this one looks like it held support down here a few months ago, right? The bottom arc did wick through and it held as support. And now it's battling resistance. So it looks like it's closer to resistance than it is a support. So this one has a lot to break through, right? It has the baseline at 36.25, the conversion line at 37.13, the 100-month moving average at 39.38, and even my green level going across around 37.60. So lots and lots of resistance to try to break free. And if it does do that, it's going to be clear to go up to the 50-month moving average around 57.48, right? So that is a good potential. But this bearish engulfing candle right here that went down 38% was pretty negative for the chart, right? And it's kind of clear why that happened. See, it just got rejected by this baseline right here on a monthly basis. Then it just went back down to test support. Because remember, if it cannot break a resistance, it's going to retest a support. And this support was this arc down here, right? So now I believe the new support could be this top arc here, which is maybe around 29.80 or so, maybe 29.50, depending on the wicks, right? And that'll be the new support in my opinion. And the current resistance is anywhere from this angle, which sits around $35, all the way up to $39. So this is a pretty big resistance zone, but it's basically right in the middle, like 29 all the way up here. So I would like it to get closer to support before any kind of buy action, or if you're interested in being bullish, because it's just in the middle of a range currently, right? So looking at all of these miners, a lot of them, most of them, I would say, are still stuck under some resistance, and it's just waiting to break higher. There's only a couple that are above all the resistance, so I think those would be the most bullish charts to look at. And the ones like this, or the ones like, what's the other one here? Yeah, RIOT. They're still stuck under a lot of resistance, right? So the ones that are stuck under a lot of resistance, I'm more hesitant to be bullish on, right? But the ones like Bitfarms right here, it's above all the resistance here. Or even like Mara, where it's holding everything, it only has the conversion line. These are the ones I like the most, just because they have the biggest potential to break that small resistance to continue higher and higher to the upper levels here. So let's go wait for the monthly close in a couple more days and see how these charts play out.